بسم الله الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. Inshallah ta'ala, this is the second video in our series Guidance to Mankind. May Allah keep us always on the straight path and guide us towards what pleases Him. Before I start, just a small request, please, if there is any technical issues with the video, like the video is not playing or the audio not being clear enough, please let me know. You can send me a personal message or on the other groups, the EIDs and whatnot, so I can try to address it. I am using a new app to change the background. I'm sure everybody noticed that. So please let me know if there anything that can be, inshallah, improved regarding this. A quick recap of our first video, and this is an introduction. The first two videos are going to be an introduction, inshallah. The 5 facts that we all should agree on for us to be able to be productive, inshallah, and to learn something from this series. We have to agree on these 5 facts. In the previous video, we said the first fact is that the Quran is the highest level of authority, and nothing tops the Quran. The second point, or the second fact, the Quran is clear, easy to understand. It can be as hard as you want it to be. You want a challenge, it will present you with that challenge. You want just something simple, you can get a simple understanding. And the third point or fact, every Muslim should have that simple basic understanding of the Quran, so we can get our foundation laid out for us. The fourth point, and or fact again, inshallah, I don't know why I keep saying point. The fourth fact, inshallah ta'ala, is the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. His actions, his words are the second source of guidance. Here we have to explain that the authentic hadith only. Unfortunately, many of the ahadith which are popular among the people, and sometimes you get a forward message on WhatsApp or any other social media app, and it tells you keep it going and keep forwarding it and this and that, and the hadith is not even a hadith to begin with. Inshallah, I will be making soon, inshallah, a video about the common ahadith which people talk about and they send to one another and they say Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said this, and it's never really something that he said. So I will make a video, and I think that will be important, inshallah, addressing the very famous or common ahadith that people send to one another and they are not really authentic, or sometimes even fabricated. The Prophet never said anything like this, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So that will be in a separate video, but for here we just want to know that our second source of guidance after the Quran is the authentic hadith or of our beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The fifth fact, what comes after the Quran and hadith is, of course, our beloved scholars, the sincere scholars, because every time and place has its own scholars who might have agendas or are sometimes unfortunately paid to do what they're doing, or they serve those who have authority. We call them ulama al-sultan, the scholars of the sultan or the person in charge. They will just want to please the authorities and they get benefits, obviously. So we're not talking about those scholars. And those, by the way, are very dangerous, because a misguided scholar is a terrible thing to happen. The misguided scholar can misguide a whole generation, and that has happened in the past. One of the reasons why we have so many divisions in Islam today is those scholars. They started those divisions for whatever propaganda or whatever they wanted to do. Whatever benefit they got out of it, it's the benefit of the dunya, and they have sold their deen for the benefit of the dunya, and they misguided thousands and sometimes even millions of people. So We're talking about the sincere scholars. Those are our third source of guidance. But we have to mention 2 points here about the scholars. Number one, the scholars, unlike the Quran and authentic Hadith, they make mistakes. Quran is the words of Allah. Hadith is the word and action of the Prophet ﷺ, who is guided by Allah. But the scholars are human beings, just normal human beings. They make mistakes. Surely they will make a mistake. Prophet Muhammad ﷺ tells us in the authentic Hadith that the Prophet ﷺ says, if you were not to make mistakes, Allah will bring different creation, different people who will be making mistakes, and they will ask for forgiveness. It means the human being naturally makes mistakes. That's what it means. It doesn't mean you should make mistakes or anything, but every human being will surely make mistakes, no doubt. By the way, even the prophets, and inshallah I will make another video to explain about can prophets make mistakes and what is the difference between them and us. We are just normal, regular people. So if the prophets make mistakes, then there is no way you can say the scholars do not make mistakes. Of course, when it comes to legislations, haram and halal, normally prophets do not make mistakes. But again, I will explain further more about this later, inshallah. So one thing we need to know about the scholars, every single scholar, regardless who that scholar could be, very knowledgeable or sincere and everything, surely he had made mistakes in the past or whatever. And that's why we do not follow them blindly, and we'll talk about that later, inshallah ta'ala. We say sami'na wa ata'na, we hear and obey when it comes to Quran and Hadith. Other than that, Imam Malik, rahimahullah, was standing before the grave of the Prophet ﷺ, and he said, everybody, without exception, I can take or reject their statement except whoever lays in this grave. Meaning Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, his statement is absolute, we do not argue about it. But anybody else, the statement can be true or false. Even sincere, knowledgeable scholars can, or actually surely, will make mistakes. We'll be talking more further about this point, inshallah, too. The other thing about the scholars, and this is important, the scholars of the past outweigh the scholars of the present and future. What does that mean? Prophet Muhammad ﷺ says the best of time is my time, and then those who come after them, and then those who come after them. Which means, because of this hadith, the first 3 generations after Prophet Muhammad ﷺ are the best, the golden era of Islam. No doubt there were fitnas, and there were some misleading people, and this, many things happened, but still the best 3 generations are the first 3 generations, and we call them as-salaf al-salih, the guided or the righteous ancestry. So we try to follow them. If somebody said at their time something, one big scholar who is sincere and knowledgeable, of course, because they were again hypocrites and all kind of things, but their opinion is greater and highly or upheld higher than the scholars of today who are sincere and knowledgeable too. So let's say Imam Shafi'i, rahimahullah, said something, and then we have a scholar today who said something who might be conflicting with Imam Shafi'i. We normally go with Imam Shafi'i. Of course, there are exceptions because both are human beings and both can make mistakes. But in general, the opinion of the first 3 generations is normally given more credit than the opinion of our scholars today. Even though today knowledge is more accessible, but their time had more barakah. You can imagine Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala being pleased with the whole ummah at their time. Rather today, may Allah forgive us and keep us on the straight path, they had more barakah in their time, in their health. And so in terms of righteousness, only Allah knows. But that's why the first 3 generations, inshallah, their opinion and what they say, especially about things that do not change, like the attributes of Allah and such, their opinion is normally upheld over the opinion of today's scholars. Inshallah, I'll stop at this point, and I'll be making a second or a third video soon, inshallah. May Allah put that on the scale of our good deeds. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.